This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social. Look, even before we start this interview, Stitch Duran, a man who I think I did my first interview with you when I was 16, so 3 years ago. I'm still young, but look, I was with no outlet and you gave me the time of day, and now it's a pleasure whenever we link up because it brings me back to that moment. And I think people like you in boxing, if we didn't have people like yourself, I wouldn't be in the position where I am today. So, like I say, whenever I see you, I'm eternally grateful, and it's always a pleasure to be with you.
Hey, man, I was a little surprised. You're one of the first guys I saw when I got here in Abu Dhabi. But, yeah, going back, man, you turned the clock back, and I had told you right at that point, you know, you did a good job for being a young 16-year-old and doing your first interview with me and all that, and I expected good things to come. And as you said earlier, you know, you've just been blessed, and I've been blessed, you know, so that's how we get there, Charlie.
I think it's important for people and the viewers to listen to some of these stories, because a lot of people see boxing and they see the interviews from the outside world and they see the Tyson Furies and the Anthony Joshuas, which we'll go into. But on a personal level, you said to me, hey, look, Charlie, if you ever make it to Vegas or make it to a show I'm at, I'll take you backstage and I'll wrap your hands. And I think at the time, neither of us really expected it to happen. Right, exactly. But I saw you out in Vegas at Devin Haney against Jojo Diaz, and you were a man of your word. You took me into Devin Haney's locker room and you did wrap my hands and you signed it. And I have it framed up on my wall to this day, you know, something I will never, ever forget.
Yeah, it was, you know, those are special moments, right? I love doing that. I'll always pick somebody and rap only one person. When I was with the UFC, everybody would hang out in the lobby, and I'd always pick one person and make it special for them. But, yeah, for you, you know, to have that opportunity to take you back there to see what we do. You know, at the eye of the storm, you got to go in it and see it and then be part of it. So I'm glad I could do that for you.
Well, Stitch, thank you as always. Let's get into it. Obviously, we're here in sunny Abu Dhabi, which is brilliant because England at this time of the year is absolutely horrible. Look, you're here for Jessica McCaskill's corner, who takes on the unbeaten Chantel Cameron in what is a really, really good fight. If Jessica is victorious, she becomes a two-weight, two-time undisputed champion. Really, really big fight that you're involved in Saturday night.
Yeah, of course. You know, I love working with Jessica McCaskill, and you know, when Rick Ramos asked me if I could come to this one, you know, of course it's, you know, from my house to this hotel is 24 hours, you know, so as I look at it, I said, well, do I want to? Yeah, I do. I want to support Jessica for what she does. She's a great girl and she could fight, you know, so, you know, I've been part of a lot of history, Charlie, in so many different events and so many different fighters that it'd be nice to be part of her history and having two undisputed titles.
Well, look, let's talk a little bit about the fight. I don't know how much you've seen of Chantel Cameron, but really, really rated over on our shores, and this is her coming out party. A lot of people expect her to cause the upset, but then at the same time, you know, there's a bit of UK bias in there. You know, we like to back our own. We know just how good Jessica is. I think it sets up for a really, really great fight.
Yeah, you know, I don't look at things that way, Charlie. I know everybody does. They have their favorites, and you know, people always ask me who's going to win, and I hate predicting. But yeah, you know, I just think because none of us are right, you know, until it happens, right? Then probably 50% of us are right. But now, you know, I look at what kind of fight. You know, am I going to, as a cut man? Well, how important is a cut man going to be in this type of fight? And I understand, you know, the type of style that that we're going to be seeing. It is going to be toe-to-toe, you know, so I'll be getting some work in, and hope they have a good cut man on the other side, because I'm sure they'll be getting some work.
Look, I know you're not a man of prediction, but let's talk through the rest of the card. It is a fantastic card. Dimitri Bivol comes off his win with Canelo Saul Alvarez and looks to defend against another Mexican, an unbeaten one in Zurdo Ramirez. I'm interested to hear your sort of take on it. Zurdo's a very, very big guy. He'll go in there and he'll look to impose himself and cut the ring off, but it's a challenge because, in all honesty, he's not had the fight that would line him up for someone like Bivol, and we know just how good Dimitri is.
You know what? I mentioned it earlier today when I first saw Bivol and Better Beat Him. I was really hooked on both of them, Bivol especially. But technique-wise, you know, he's real good at that. Ramirez, believe it or not, I don't know that much about him, but I like Bivol. You know, I just like him a lot, and I expect him to do what he did with against Canelo. You know, just dominate him, and it was done through good technique.
Well, let me ask you about the other world title fight on the card. We've got Freddie Roach to my right here, and he trains the man I don't even. I think it's Tajikistan that he's from. Rakimov. He takes on the actually beat him once. Zelfa Barrett, the Brit. It was meant to be Joe Cordina, the IBF champion, but he had a hand injury. Unfortunately, the first punch in sparring, and had a really severe injury. So the IBF stripped him, but managed to get another Brit on board. So even better for us guys out here supporting in what is another brilliant fight. I mean, we're very blessed to be out here with 3 headline amazing fights.
Be honest with you, I'm not real familiar with anyone on the 3rd fight, so it's tough for me to answer that kind of question. But I think, just looking at the press conference today, the people that are stacked, it's going to be a lot of hometown guys, it's country boys from here that are going to be fighting. So I think, for fan-wise, it's going to be quite entertaining. And then, you got a couple world title fights, at least the ones I'm familiar with, they're going to be top of the line. So it's a good night of fights.
Let's move on to the heavyweight division. We've seen Tyson Fury's come out recently. First things first, he did an interview and we've been asking everyone, I don't know whether you would have seen the clip on social media where he had a bit of an outburst and he was, calling the interviewer all sorts of names. And I just wondered, I know you won't have spoken to Tyson and it's in the week of the fight whenever you do, and I know that he really appreciates you, but I don't know if you've heard anything, but do we know what Tyson's mindset is right now? Because we know he can erupt, but this was, we were quite shocked to see how he erupted in this interview and the way he did.
I don't know what the interview you're talking about. I've been out of the tune on that. Well, tell me about it and I'll probably give you an answer.
You know what? I will get it up right now. I'll pause the recording. Just picking this back up here, I've just showed Stitch the video. Stitch, just your sort of reaction. I know you haven't seen the full interview itself, so you can't talk too much, but I think he was asking quite pressing questions regarding the Chisora fight, but just your sort of thoughts on that outburst.
Man, it's Tyson Fury. Nothing surprises me on all that. But like I said, I got a lot of problems. That ain't one of them. I don't know what happened, anything. But I will talk about the Chisora fight if I can. And I literally have a little bit of respect for Chisora, if any. And that was the reason is I think when he fought Vitaly. Vladimir and I standing, in the ring. He walks by and he spits water on Vladimir. And to me, I thought that was very disrespectful. So, whatever Tyson Fury does to Chisora, I'm with him 150%. Actually, I'd work his fight for just $1.
Well, let's ask about the fight, because we know that Tyson has beat Derek Chisora twice before, but this was much more in the past. I think 10, 11 years ago, the second fight was. Derek Chisora, I think he's 1-3 in his last 4 fights, with a split decision last time out with Kubrat Pulev. Gave Alexander Usyk a fairly good fight, to be fair, and was beaten 2 times by Joseph Parker. A lot of people have been saying this isn't the fight for the heavyweight champion. Tyson Fury shouldn't be taking a fight like this. Just your first reaction. I know that Tyson wants to be out towards the end of the year. Is it an acceptable opponent?
Yeah, well, I mean, Tyson, like I said, if he wants to do something at the, and then he's at the tail end of his career, so I think what he's accomplished, he could pick whoever he wants to fight. And, if it's going to be done in the UK, he's going to get in it. It'd be a sold-out crowd, so why not?
Do you expect to be in Tyson Fury's corner on that night?
I don't think so. I was blessed enough to work with him when he was stateside in Las Vegas. But given these other guys, I think these opportunities to work with them is fine. So if I do work with him, that'd be awesome. If not, I got a lot of respect for him either way.
Of course, and sort of let's move on to Anthony Joshua. We know last time out the defeat to Usyk in the rematch, but me personally, I thought it was a better performance than the first fight. I think he imposed himself and he gritted down on his gum shield more and sort of showed what he is capable of. However, with that being said, 2 defeats, I think 3 defeats in his last 5. Does he, in your opinion, would it be a sensible idea? We see fighters pick up a couple of losses and then maybe go back to the drawing board and, take a couple of easier fights, as per se, for momentum and just to get that confidence back up. Do you feel that that could maybe be something that Anthony Joshua should explore in the new year?
Why not fight Chisora? I think that'd be a good fight for him. I think Anthony Joshua's a step above technique-wise on Chisora, and it'd be a good fight for him. If he could take Chisora's shots, maybe he'll give him that confidence to continue.
Does Anthony Joshua need to sort of get his confidence back, or can he just go back into the big fights? Because it was rumoured that he had the Tyson Fury fight lined up. It never came through in the end towards the end of this year. But I think a lot of people made Tyson the favourite in that, and people would have said, well, where would have AJ gone after that? Does it make sense to sort of get his confidence back?
Against Tyson Fury? No. No, not against Tyson Fury. I think, Tyson to me is an excellent heavyweight. And I think right now he's still, for the most part, at the prime of his career, So, yeah, I wouldn't. Anthony Joshua needs a victory. Like I say, who do you put him up against? Somebody that's going to give him a tough fight, but somebody that he could prevail and go on to the next level.
I will just ask one more on the Tyson Fury front. Obviously, he's picked up and built his resume up certainly a lot more over the last couple of years. But still, people question the depth of the resume. He has those sort of 2 wins over Wilder and 1 draw, but we know what we think about that draw. Yeah, right. And obviously his win against Klitschko, and then, a couple of other wins in there. But to go down as an all-time great, he says he wants to... Sometimes he says he doesn't like legacy, but like you say, Tyson, he can contradict himself, and it's the Tyson Fury show. Yeah. But, for legacy, does he need to go out there? Does he need to beat Usyk convincingly? Maybe a rematch? He's mentioned Wilder for the 4th time, Anthony Joshua, Joe Joyce, Ruiz. Just beat all these names to go down as an all-time great?
Yeah, I think so. Tyson Fury, and it's not because of skill level, it's because of personalities, and Tyson Fury is fairly new into the heavyweight division when it comes to quality big names, right? But he's definitely reached that peak already, and if he continues winning, then that legacy is going to be with him. But people are always going to remember him as a good fighter. And like I say, I was shocked when he beat Vladimir. How could he beat Vladimir? Looking the way he looked, opposed to look at the way Vladimir looked. But then when he beat Deontay Wilder, I understood why. Because he could box and he has great defense.
On me, another one on the UK front, Benn. We saw that obviously he was meant to have that mega fight, a mega fight over here with Chris Eubank Jr. It fell through on the week of the fight because of a reported failed VADA test. Since then, last week, we've seen that there's been another failed test, meaning that Conor has failed 2 tests. Obviously, there is a legal process that goes on behind closed doors, but when you fail 2 VADA tests, it's, they will go down their route and they will make their explanation and whatever, but on failing 2 VADA tests, and especially when Eubank's cutting down the weight to go to fight at a weight he's never fought at before, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I've never been anybody that has to use chemicals outside of hard work, to make weight or to have an advantage. I've always been totally against that, and I don't really know a lot of the full details on that, but if you get popped twice, bro, that's too many.
I agree. Look, moving on to the world of yourself, we always speak Creed, but there was no development last time out. We have a massive development since the last time we spoke. I believe the film launching sometime next year, and I believe there's a red carpet premiere and all sorts. Canelo makes an appearance. I think Tony Bellew's back in it. I know that Michael B. Jordan is someone that looks up to you and speaks very highly of you, and you've spoke to me about the sort of moments that you've shared together. Creed 3, I can't wait to watch it myself. How was being on set, and how was the filming process?
I tell you what, Charlie, I've been through all 3 of them, right, as Michael's cut man, and he relies on me for the authenticity and all that. Michael directed this film, and I tell you what, I was super impressed with this young man. Not only as a great actor, but he did a tremendous job as a director, and there was one point where, I'll let you listen to this also, there was one point where he came and asked me, he said, Stitch, who should give away the WBC belt, right? So I gave him the whole scenario of Jose Sulaiman from Mexico City created it, the most prestigious belt out there. And so I saw Mauricio Sulaiman when Earl Spence fought Ugas, and I told him the story. And he said, yeah, this good. He said, but you know what, let's take a picture and let's send it to the Klitschkos. Vladimir and Vitaly, because I worked with them for 8 years, and he was with them. Charlie, I'm going to let you listen to this. You'll probably be the only one in the UK to ever pick this up. Vladimir, being that they're fighting Russia, Vitaly's the mayor of Kiev, Vladimir's a spokesman for the country. Sulaiman sent him this, and this is what the response of Vladimir sent me.
Put it on the mic?
Yeah, well, yeah, where's your mic at?
My 2 favorite men, especially Stitch, with whom I spent so much time talking, and he actually saved my career on a lot of different stages. If Stitch wouldn't be in my corner, I would not make the record of 12 years being a champion. So that's so great to see you both, and Stitch is the man.
Wow, incredible.
That's incredible, and that was the type of thing, and and going backtrack to that is when I think I told you the story when he fought Anthony Joshua. I didn't see him till the weigh-ins, but I told him that I was going to take care of him like he was my son, and here I am before Michael Buffer does the announcing, and the whole world's watching us. I'm putting Vaseline on him, and he's 6 inches away from my face, and he says, "You can call me son." And it just kind of gave me chills like this. So that's the relationship I had. And like I say, he called me after the fights and called me, "Hey, Daddy." But then I saw him like 3 months later in Germany, and I asked him simply, I said, "Vladimir, that moment, why?" He says, "Stitch," he says, "there's very few people I trust in my life. You are one of them." So you got to hear that, bro.
Well, this is why I love bringing you on, and I love being able to delve deeper than perhaps a normal interview. That's why I said I don't want to do something earlier. I want to be able to sit down in an environment where we can just chat, because it is so important for people to see this side of things. But also, I think a real credit to yourself, because to walk around the way you do. I mean, we're just in the lobby here, and you've got people from fighters teams coming up to you and showing how much they respect you, and it resonates over the whole sport. And I know mixed martial arts as well. You are such a well-renowned and respected figure, and I suppose that even proves why Michael B. Jordan's the same. Everyone takes a credit in knowing you and having to deal with you.
Well, thanks, man. No, it's a pleasure. I always give back, and then and teach and learn and just be part of the team. And that's something that my parents kind of bestowed on me, and they did it, and I did it, and my other brothers and sisters do it. So we always give back, and that's the legacy. People say, "Oh, you're a legend," and this and that. But it is a little embarrassing, just to kind of hear that, because we're just, we're normal, low-down blue-collar guys, and to get these kind of acclimates. Freddie Roach is here, and we basically, same kind of people, down-to-earth people, and to get that kind of respect is, it's unbelievable.
Well, let me touch on the Creed front again, because I really can't wait. I watched the first 2 films, and I don't know how many times now, and every time I watch it, I make sure that my family are around. I'm like, "I know that guy, I know that guy." I can say that for a few of the people in it now, luckily. But just for you being a part of it, not far out now, you said you were so amazed with the way Michael B. Jordan directed and did it, but being a part of it so special, and just this film, what can we expect? People never say that the trilogy and the second one is going to be as good as some in the past, but with the Creed franchise, you never know. They just seem to keep getting better and better.
You know what? This one's going to be explosive, and I'm telling you why is because there's 2 spin-offs that come off of that, off of this one here with Creed, right? Tony Bello did a great job. It was good to see Canelo. As a matter of fact, as I'm wrapping Michael's hands, I'm telling him, I said, Michael, they have Jose Benavidez that's fighting also. I said, Michael, this is the first major Hollywood movie where a Mexican fighter has been highlighted. And ironically, last week I'm reading an interview he did where he was saying that, that Mexicans are a big part of boxing, and he wants to highlight them. So I'm glad that I saw what they're creating, but he went all the way out, and there's a couple spin-offs, and I think people already know, so I just kind of let you know is they're going to have a spin-off with Drago. And I was talking to Florian Montanu that played Drago's son in the movie, and he is actually the one that presented it to Irvin Winkler and all that, and he was telling me the kind of what they want to do with Drago, because we've always seen the negative side of Drago. Well, they're also going to show the human side of Drago, and then along with him and his son. So I expect good things out of this. But Michael did a tremendous job, man. I was just so proud of him.
Well, me myself, I know I can't wait, and I think I'm speaking for a lot of the boxing public. I suppose we're not a niche sport, but when we can get that massive public attention and we can bring more people into our sport, the better. Look, I want to ask you, you touched on Benavidez there, taking a part in the film, and how important it is, for Mexicans because of their big role in the past of boxing and the present. I mean, we've got a Mexican contender in the main event this weekend. Recently we had the first ever Mexican heavyweight champion in Andy Ruiz, Canelo, and then you look at the greats of all time. I don't even need to go on. People know who I'm on about, but I know that you are someone that's very proud of your heritage and your roots and where you came from, and I suppose I'll just pass the mic to you to sort of speak through that and speak through your background, because I know it's something that you keep, humble beginnings, and you keep close to your heart.
Yeah, well, thanks, man, to giving me this opportunity. But yeah, as a matter of fact, they're filming a documentary on my life right now, and we're almost at the finishing touches. Michael B. Jordan came forward and gave us 30 minutes to show you, the kind of love that he gives me, But I grew up as a farm worker, born and raised in a migrant camp, and I'm the guy that picked all the fruits and vegetables for you guys to eat, and my goal was always to become a professional baseball player. But I walked on to a college to play with them, and I didn't have a car or anything, so I had to hitchhike back home. And so I joined the military in 1974. I was stationed in Thailand, and I trained the martial arts over there. As a matter of fact, this young lady over there knows he was Thai Master Skin. He's in Manchester. We trained together when we were young, and she trained with him, and this other guy came today, and they trained with Master Skin. So that was the beginning, and that's how I got started in this. I opened up my own school of kickboxing, and I was a trainer before I was a cut man, but being a cut man floated to the top, and 28 years ago I packed up my family and moved to Las Vegas from the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, to follow my dreams, and here I am, UFC camera.
Never looked back since.
No, I always I think maybe I told you, I always told my friends this: I'm going to the top. I'm taking a bus with me. If you want to get on that bus, get on the bus, because I'm going with or without you. And nobody took advantage of that. Now they're calling me, and now it's a little too late.
Happens.
It always happens. I jump on the bandwagon, but the doors are already closed. But they're always open. And so I've been fortunate with that, and I've got involved in 7 movies. I've worked with all major sports of combat, bare knuckle fights, MMA, kickboxing, and of course boxing. And but I always give back, Charlie. On the back of my collar on many of my outfits, I always have the name of my little town, Planada, just to inspire them. Because when the cameras I'm working on somebody, the cameras are behind me, and my collar's the #1 position. So I always give them love out of respect. So I've been blessed, and here I am in Abu Dhabi and doing an interview with you, and you're doing a great job. The questions you ask and the way you present them, I saw that growth when you were 16 years old.
Stitch, thank you so much. As always, it's an absolute pleasure. Like I say, when I saw you yesterday, I was just so overjoyed, because it's not often that we can be around too much. Like you work in MMA and kickboxing and boxing, like you say, and you're always in the States. I'm always in the UK, but when we do cross paths, it's a pleasure. Final message to the people watching?
Well, more for you is, you're right. When I walked into the lobby yesterday, I saw you, and of course, I got a big smile on my face, because I know your history. And, me being the first guy you interviewed at 16, I could imagine. I remember you sitting there, and just asking these questions, and I was impressed. And I think I let you know, and, to see you here, and then, like I say, to see you in Las Vegas, and to taking the path that you and I have taken together, it's been a fun path, and I expect big things to happen for you. And like we mentioned in the elevator coming down, is look at yourself 5 years from now. Give yourself goals, and Charlie's going to be a badass.